You're just funny. It's funny, the way you tell the story and everything.
Funny how?
Come here, though. Yeah, he's crazy, see? Who are you?
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Are you ready?
Oh, hey there, friends. What's going on? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Bardo Podcast. I am your host, Tony Bardo, and today's a fun episode. I mean, I say that with most of my episodes, but usually I'm pretty right, as most episodes are fun. I am joined with fellow podcaster and comedian Jeff Dwoskin, host of the JEFF DWOSKIN Show, a really cool podcast where he'll interview, celebrities and actors and actresses and fellow comedians. And, if you're into pop culture, you got to check out this podcast. He's had so many cool guests on, and you could check him out on Instagram at JEFF DWOSKIN Show, or just click the little link in the episode notes. I'll leave that there. This was a fun episode. It's always cool to talk to him. I've been on his other show called Crossing the Streams, which is where him and his friends geek out about movies and series, and so I wanted to kind of have him on to shoot the shit a little bit. Talk about pop culture, talk about podcasting, talk about his career. Just a bunch of cool stuff. And if you notice, I'm gaining more traction on YouTube. So if you haven't already, check out my YouTube channel you can go to youtube.com/Tony Bardo. You guys know where it's at in the bio. If you do watch me on YouTube, you probably notice all the cool overlays and fonts and all that type of jazz that I constantly, pull up on screen. Everything that you see here is all done through Ecamm. Ecamm is the go-to for live streaming and video production. It's literally everything I do. You look at someone like Joe Rogan, who's the GOAT of podcasting. Well, everyone knows Young Jamie, right? The production guy who switches cameras and does all the sound effects and shares the screen and all that jazz. Well, you can do all that through Ecamm. So if you're looking to upgrade your podcast or your video setup, Ecamm Live is the way to go. They're actually giving out a 14-day free trial. If you want that, just for being a listener on the show, you're going to get to try it out risk-free for 14 days. Guarantee you're going to want to get this thing. You can check out the free trial in the episode notes below. So hopefully you guys can upgrade your video production. And if you guys ever need help with that, just shoot me a DM and, maybe I'll do some videos on that in the future. But without further ado, let me introduce today's guest, Jeff Dwoskin.
Ramble. Okay.
Yeah.
How long does it take you to make one of those little videos that you put up? I've been finding YouTube Shorts to be really good. I make it on Reels. I just finally figured out how to edit stuff that you shoot on Reels in the app. It's not very. You have to go and then hit edit, and then you can replace, and then you can actually rearrange them too. So it's actually kind of nice.
Yeah.
I'm not fancy like you. I do everything right in the app, and if I can't do it without special effects, I don't do it.
Sure.
And so, but I put it on YouTube Shorts, and I've been getting a lot of views on YouTube Shorts and picking up not a ton, but more than I normally get followers.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
so,
for sure.
Like my last one got on TikTok, I'm getting nothing.
When you do your video your Reels first, and then don't post it, and then save it when you complete it, and then use that video that's saved for TikTok. Because one thing I noticed with yours just the other day, I don't know if it's with every video, but I was going to message you something. So when you post on TikTok,
the watermark.
Yeah, and if you have the watermark, same thing with Instagram. If you have a TikTok that you put on Reels, somehow the algorithm knows and it'll fuck it up. I've noticed that lately, and then I started doing some research on it. And yeah, apparently these bastards, that's their MO, as if you have the watermarks on an opposite platform, they just don't even push it out, which is madness.
YouTube doesn't seem to care right now.
No, YouTube's money, man. I'm really enjoying Shorts, which is why I'm kind of I posted a few creator videos, and I'm not really doing reviews as much just because I don't have the time. But I'm doing more creator shit because I'm really trying to amp up my podcast. And no one's using Shorts. I think that's why it's working. But
I mean, it's funny though, because I put one up, and for hours it was at 1.
Right.
I go to bed, I wake up, it's at 2.3 thousand.
That's gnarly.
I mean, and then on Instagram Reels, it's not it's like I posted 2. I had back-to-back days where I had 11,000 and then like 18,000 on them. And like the likes started coming in like popcorn, like boom, 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 boom. I didn't catch that again. And then like the one that I posted yesterday, I have more likes on it than the one that I did previously, but not as many views. Yeah. It's because it's usually, I think it's the likes that kind of, and maybe the comments too, but like that kind of energize it.
Yeah, it's so weird, man. I've been trying to, they change it. I feel like they change it all the time because I'll do one thing that it'll crank and then it'll go viral, whatever viral is. And, you know, that'll go really well. And then I'll do something that I think is like incredible, like 10-second clip that's like motivational and fucking awesome, you know, and it's got like 500 views. I'm like, what the fuck? How does my stupid shit get 20,000 views and like my educational stuff that I spend time on get like 200, 300, 400 views? It doesn't
I was upset. I did a stupid iPhone tips one that did really well. And then
that was funny, actually.
I like to take what everyone's doing and then do a kind of a parody of it.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
But one I did when I was out, I saw this. I was at a supermarket and it said loose corn, which always makes me laugh. Loose corn. It's loose corn, 69 cents.
Right.
So I did a little short with it real quick, and then but it didn't do anything. I was just like, this is like funny.
Yeah. Yeah, like
I was like,
the things you think are funny, you know, sometimes it does well and sometimes it doesn't, but I don't know.
You never know.
I also have realized that Instagram Reels, it kind of like hit a peak, I feel like, you know, and
I think it's still going. They just opened up the APIs to it, so they're going to keep pushing it. So
I think they just haven't figured it out yet, because I mean, TikTok it's doing its thing, of course, but Instagram's pushing a lot more to Reels, but I just feel like it's inconsistent. So I don't know what type of algorithm they're using, but it's just kind of, at least I know with TikTok, I know what works and what doesn't. Like there's 4 steps to do, you know, with TikTok.
Yeah, I'll have to try it.
Follow them.
There's no way once you push it to a reel to get it without the thing, is there? Maybe I'll just try and recreate those videos on TikTok.
No, the only way to do it is to film it first on Instagram. And then right before you press next, there's that save button. Click save, and then that'll save it without the watermark. But you can't have any audio, like you can't have any music or anything on it. And then once you save that, then use that to post on TikTok, and then you'll be good.
You can have your own audio, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, none of their.
Which that's also like something that you got to use for the algorithm too, right? Is those trending sounds. Like even if you have it in the background, it's
I go on TikTok and they're like, use this sound and you get thousands of views. And I'm like, okay. And I got like 50 views. Right. Screw you. Screw you, TikTok experts.
Yeah.
I know nothing.
There's
nothing.
There's no fucking experts there. And, you know, have you ever like looked into those experts that are like, follow me and you'll gain 1 million followers in 2 weeks? And like, I look at their followers and they have like 50,000 followers. I'm like, don't use your advice. Like, why do you not have millions of followers?
Right. So, you know, you got to be careful who you listen to.
Yeah.
Sometimes just the loudest voices are the ones that kind of push all this stuff out.
It's like Gail Godot when she, you know, sung that whole song with all the celebrities. Loudest voices. Stupid. Hey,
it was I still think that was a nice thought. It just
Sure it was. Sure it was. You thought to yourself, you're like, you know, I started a podcast because I like the sound of my voice. And then you listen to your podcast 6 times and you're like, Jesus, this is fucking annoying.
You started a podcast because you like the sound of your voice?
Yeah. No, but I figured, you know, you gotta find your voice. And once I found my voice in a podcast.
You mean your voice, not your literal.
Oh, not my actual vocals. Yeah. No, I'm not a fan of my physical voice and how it sounds. I can't listen to my podcast. Like once I edit it and I post it, I never listen to it. You know, like,
it's rare that I go back. I can't listen to, if someone's listening to my podcast out loud, I have to tell them to put on headphones.
Seriously.
I can listen to it when I'm editing it. I don't like hearing someone else hear me.
And I don't know if that's just because I don't mind criticism at all. In fact, I encourage it, but it's just one of those weird things where I mean, you know, you do stand up, so it's not like you can go back and watch your own tape. There's a difference between that versus like if you did a stand-up special and you're in a room with people and they're watching your stand-up special, you're kind of like, that's got to be cringy. You know, I would imagine it's probably the same thing. Because I can't have people watch or listen to me on my podcast and I'm in the same room. It's like I'd rather them do it on their own and then come back in the room and be like, yo, dude, this sucked, or yo, dude, this was cool. Like, give me that criticism, but I can't watch it with you.
The worst is when someone goes, oh, I listen to your podcast.
That's the worst?
Yeah, when that's the end of the sentence. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, there's no other.
I like doing the videos because I think I make funny facial expressions sometimes. And I was like, so not that was a bad example, but like
cut that part out. That's going to be one of those things.
It's more natural. Like my face will make natural kind of, I think. And so that's fun. I enjoy doing that. And then, but it's really funny. Like if you could, and I'm not saying go listen to my first few episodes because they're not good, but but it's amazing how when I did go re-listen to them, and I did a director's cut because I did some things, you learn along the way, right?
Sure.
And so there were some things in those first episodes, like I was going, like that, and I left it in. And it's funny how people go, oh, we don't hear that. And I go, how do you not hear it? And to me, it's like someone's hitting me on the head with a bat. I mean, it's so annoying. And so it's funny because I think doing podcasts ruined me listening to other things because now I can't handle any distractions.
Because you listen to everything, yeah.
And so, right, you hear everything, every background noise. You can hear like the dishwasher that's in probably 3 rooms over. You can hear it. But yeah, so I mean, it's amazing when I listened back to my first few episodes because I had to drop commercials in, and I was like, oh man, as comfortable as I thought I was when I did those, wow, was I not? Like how held back I was, but I thought I wasn't. At the time I wasn't, right? And in my head, and so it's funny. But now I feel like, I can do.
Yeah,
I'm pretty like
you got
loose.
Got some sponsors now, no?
I'm part of an ad network, so they drop in and occasionally get some host-read sponsors. So
is that like Podcorn? You do Podcorn?
No, I'm with Megaphone and AdvertiseCast.
Oh, so I haven't heard of them.
I'm pretty fancy.
Yeah, that sounds fucking fancy. Is that a free service, or is that something only for famous comedians like yourself? I mean, am I allowed to get involved in that? Where did I gotta go?
I think you can. I don't know where you go. I was recruited. I went through a phase where like a lot of people were reaching out to me to become part of their network. I just, I don't know what to do. It's nice, but it's like, to pop your thing around, and then it's hard. It's like some people were offering.
I mean, I got a couple sponsors that have reached out to me in the past, and I've been with them for a while. Like Perfect Keto is one in particular that I've worked with for, I don't know, 2-3 years or something like that. And I do some stuff on the side for them as well. And that's cool and that's fun. But I think ultimately, like and you probably know this better than I do, but if I was able to do this full time, right, like if this is all we did, it would be extremely lucrative and you could put a lot more effort into it. Very similar, I'm sure, with stand-up. I'm relating a lot of it because that's what you do. But like if you were to commit to just doing that, or just doing acting, or just doing, music or whatever, if you're able to commit 7 days a week to it, you're going to become more profitable naturally at it.
It's hard. It's a numbers game. I don't think begging people on Facebook 7 days a week is going to be any more useful than begging them every other day. So,
That's true. Well, and it's weird that you have friends. Like I have a lot of friends. I have, I think, more subscribers because I can only see a few emails based off who subscribes to the show. Some are blocked or the analytics don't show it. But a lot of my friends don't listen to it. It's more strangers. A lot of strangers listen to my podcast and subscribe. And then, like you said, I'll have people that will be like, oh, yeah, man, I heard that last episode last week.
Yeah, people will go, oh, yeah, listen to a couple of your episodes. It's like,
and?
Like, thanks. Yeah. And then you stopped. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Did you fucking subscribe? You press the little button, bud?
No, but I find people don't want to help. And then, like, I remember, like, I was up for this award. So I asked people to help vote. Couldn't get anything. But if I had won and announced that I had won, I would have got 500 likes. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's like, it's almost like people don't want to be a part of it. They'll acknowledge your accolades, but nobody actually wants to help.
And it's the attention span, right? Like people don't want to, like anything incremental to what they're already doing or what they have planned. It just seems like more work for them. They're not thinking that it's going to help somebody. But I like purposely go out of my way to try to do things to to help fellow creators and podcasters and stuff. Because I'm like, if I can help them out somehow, then maybe down the road we could work together. We could do something, in the future. I mean, the possibilities are endless, especially when it comes to podcasting and creating content. It's, you got to help each other. That's the only way you're going to grow.
Absolutely.
Hey, so yeah, to answer your original question, how long it takes to create those it's like 4 minutes. Because I don't know if you watched that video that I sent you over, but I had that in my back pocket for a couple weeks, and I was like, I don't know if I want to post it. And then you actually messaged me, and then a few of my other buddies messaged me. I was like, fuck it, I'll post it. It was a little longer than I wanted to. I didn't really edit it down. But when I post my podcast, so like I use Ecamm. We've talked about that before, but when I get done recording this and I press end recording, it saves everything to an MP4. I throw that in Premiere Pro, and then I don't really edit anything, because it sounds good, it looks good, I could see everything fine. And then when I get done with it, then I cut up like 15 clips from that as I'm editing it, and then I just put those into a 9:16 format, and then add the captions in Premiere Pro, and that's it. It doesn't take long once you have the actual. Because once I have this file, I can make clips out of this. It's easy.
Got it.
So, but it's just easier with the phone, obviously. Like I use something called CapCut occasionally too. You ever use that?
I have B-Cut.
Is that a real thing?
No, I'm serious. Yeah. BEECUT.
Oh, I haven't heard of that.
It's a desktop app, but I got it when I was going to try and do. Somebody was pitching me the idea of pushing TikTok to help grow your podcast. And so to make all those clips, it's like, I'm hesitant because it's like I put stuff on TikTok and it's like, I get 50 views. That's not going to help me.
Right. I mean, unless those 50 subscribe to your podcast and you do that every week. I mean, it's 200 a month, I guess. But I mean, what's the turnaround on that? That's my thing is if it's 50 new views or it's 50 new people, it's not like people are going to watch that TikTok and be like, ooh, Jeff Dwoskin, let me go subscribe to his podcast. Like, that's not how it works.
You're right. They have to go to the profile, then click on my link.
Yeah.
All that kind
of. It's so much work. Which, speaking of which, I did a little intro, obviously, in the beginning, but Jeff Dwoskin, follow him at Jeff Dwoskin Show.
Yes. Well, the podcast is called Classic Conversations, but on Instagram and Twitter, it is at Jeff Dwoskin Show. That is true. But you'll see Classic Conversations when you get there. It used to be called the Jeff Dwoskin Show, but I didn't change the social media because when I changed everything, I always think it's crazy when people change their handles because you lose every reference that exists.
That's right.
And so I just left it. It's still me. So it's like, it's my podcast. So
yeah, whenever you get big enough where you change the host is when you could change the name.
Right.
Now it's you.
If I outsource the host of my own show, then yes.
Yeah, we both kind of put ourselves in a little hole, right? Because mine's the Baroda podcast. So unless it's my wife, I mean, I'm fucked. I'm gonna be hosting this thing for quite some time.
Well, I changed mine to Classic Conversations. So nobody knew who I was. I'm sure a few people know who you are, but so that's why I changed. It was so long. The name was so long. If I did a 30-second ad, that was 20 seconds of it, just saying the name.
That's a good point.
So,
Well, and you do have a lot of classic conversations too. I dig it. I like the new, just the whole rebranding. It looks good.
Thanks. Yeah. Rebrand. Then I've started doing the last small handful, probably starting a couple weeks ago, I started editing it differently too. So I get to the interview within under 3 minutes.
Right.
Whereas I used to do some shtick and put the ads and I'm like, So now it's, there's always a pre-roll because you have to with your network put up at least one pre-roll, but like the ads come now 12 minutes in or something like that versus a few minutes in. So I was trying to reduce drop off. So just say, hey, welcome to the podcast. I got Tony Barano. He's really cool. And then, hey, don't forget my last week's episode with Robert Klein. He's really cool. All right, here's the interview. Boom, boom, boom. And then I figure I can shtick more at the end. No one, forever, whoever happens to stay that long. You know what I mean?
Let's take a quick break to introduce today's sponsor. So on this show, we talk a lot about health, wellness, but sometimes there's so much info out there, it's hard to get started. Well, if you need a little nudge, check out perfectketo.com. They don't just have great supplements, but it's a really great resource to keep you educated on ways to help improve your health through a low-carb diet. Not everybody is into keto or low carb, and that's totally okay. I get it. But Perfect Keto has tons of great supplements, snacks, and foods that you can work into any diet. Me personally, my favorite, and as you know, I'm vegan, my favorite supplement they have is super fat. It's like peanut butter on steroids. It's got tons of great benefits, but you know, the wife and I even use collagen in our coffee every single morning, and even greens powder in our smoothies, just to make this part of our daily routine. And just for being a listener of the show, you're going to get 20% off your entire order by visiting perfectketo.com and using the code TheBardo. Again, that's perfectketo.com. Use the code TheBardo. Thank you, Perfect Keto.
But so that's the new thing. So I'm trying to get like about 10 of them in with the new shorter format, and then I'll try another ad push or something like that. So
and see what does the best.
Well, just see if I can get people to listen longer, more retention.
Yeah. Do you have a program that you use to keep up with analytics and stuff to see how
just, you know, this is stuff that they have, but I was listening to, you know, it's looking at Apple or stuff like that. And you have your engaged listeners and people that just listen, and who knows why they drop off or anything like that. But I was always under kind of the thoughts like, oh, I'll put more me at the beginning so people understand who I am. Right. So, but you know, then you see people go, this is a great interview. It starts at 7 minutes and 12 seconds. I'm like, thanks. All the effort I put into that first, you know, point, you know, so that's what people would do. And I was like, ugh. I was underplaying, I guess, my role in the interview itself, which I guess is important. So that's where you get more of me, I guess.
Yeah.
Who knows who has the right answer? I don't know. So,
yeah. I think it's just it either has to happen organically, or you try to push what you can and then you're going to gain some people. But that's one thing I've noticed too. Like my listenership is pretty long, I think, but my podcasts aren't too long, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but I get more traction on my rants. I'll do like these little solo rants, you know, they're like 15-minute podcasts. And then I might throw like a post roll or a mid roll or something in there. I'm realizing that that's why I like shorts, YouTube shorts, is because you're getting the views. You might not be get the podcasts, you know, people listen to the podcast as much, but if you're getting that short attention span of people just watching it or listening to what you got going on, it's going to increase just overall awareness. And if I can get more subscribers on YouTube and more followers on Instagram and shit, I want people to listen to the podcast, but I don't know if subscribers are as important right now to the podcast. I mean, the only reason it's important is to get sponsors, right? Because you're going to have to show those numbers typically with sponsorships.
Right.
But yeah, that's the challenge. Is like people don't want to listen to an hour-long podcast anymore. Like even me, I used to be a huge fan 5 years ago, 6 years ago, before I started this, of like, you know, I listened to Rogan or Always Sunny. They have a podcast now, but I love those, but I don't listen to the whole thing at once anymore. I used to, but I think
I think it depends when you have time.
That's right.
I always listen it to 1.5 times speed too, so you can get through more of it faster.
Do you really?
Yeah. You don't listen to 1.5 speed? Oh, it's the greatest thing ever.
Stop.
Oh yeah, you have to do that right now. And then if I can, I listen to it at 2 speed.
No way. But change the vocals.
1.5 speed doesn't change it that much, but it does cut out like a third of the time or whatever the math is. But times 2, it depends how fast they naturally talk. So sometimes you can do it at times 2, and then sometimes it's like you're listening to the chipmunks, so you can't, and you just to dial it back to 1.5.
Yeah.
But at 1.5, you probably don't even notice the difference. When you make videos, I don't know if you do this, but one of the things people do is they'll speed up the videos to 1.5 times too. Yeah, and so it's the same idea. So, you know, if you're listening at 1.5 times, you're not going to notice but it'll go through it faster because people tend to talk slower. And so it just moves it faster.
That's super interesting. Yeah. Because I've seen that on primarily Apple Podcasts. Does Spotify have it too?
They all do.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. Any player has. All the players have it.
Yeah. So. I mainly noticed it on Apple because that's typically where I listen to my podcast. But yeah, I mean, I looked at that and I was like, who uses that? But a lot of people tell me that they use it, and I've never tried it just because I don't know, I thought it would change it too much. But no, that makes sense though, especially with
it depends. 1.5 usually not a problem at all, and it'll save you 45 minutes. It'll chop off 10 minutes. But
in the gaps, right? Like there's a lot of podcasts that I listen to that have these conversations, or like Rogan in particular, right? Where, because his are like fucking 3, 4, 5, 10 hours. And you listen to him, and, you know, when he's researching and Jamie's looking shit up, and, you know, they're trying to find stuff, there's like a 40-second gap where it's like just dead. So I could see how speeding it up would definitely benefit that. Because with me,
well, it's not even that. It's if it really depends. Like I was listening to like an hour and 15-minute Gilbert Gottfried podcast the other day, but I knew my walk's only 45 minutes. Put it on ×2, and they sounded okay. You know what I mean? Meaning like they don't sound like that, right? You could tell if you can't listen to it at 2. And I'm not saying every Gilbert Gottfried thing, because it depends on how fast the guest talks, really. Sure. But this one was fine. I knocked off an hour and 15-minute podcast in like, I don't know, 35, 40 minutes.
Yeah, that makes up a lot of time. That makes sense.
You know, so it's, I mean, you're not writing a report. So, I mean, it's like, you just want to hear it, right? So
you want to
just hear it faster, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you're in a position where you're focusing and that's all you're kind of doing, you know, like I'm going for a walk or something, and it's easy to digest. But you got, again, 1.5 for sure. I never listen to 1 times. God. 1.5, put that in your arsenal. And then 2, if you try it in the beginning, you just listen. Like I tend to talk fast. So my podcast isn't great at ×2, but
yeah,
it just makes them faster. And so that's not good. But
I feel like mine would be like that if someone tried to speed my shit up.
No, you're slow. I don't know. We can try it. We'll try it later.
Yeah.
We'll try it later.
Okay. So if everyone who's listening to this now, go ahead and hurry up and listen to 0.2 and 1.5. See if it's speed up. Yeah. Can you see?
Well, like switch it to ×2 right now. And then what we'll do is talk slower. So, but then for you, that would have been like, and so what we'll do is we'll talk slower. Oh.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right. I'm going to try.
No, you do. You got to, because you only have so much time in your life, right? So if you can maximize a little bit, that's a good way to do it.
Well, then you just do what you got to do to make it sound slow.
Right. And if you speed that up, you sound normal. That was totally worth the $800 you paid for that Rodecaster too, by the way. Totally worth it.
Well, technically, if I'm being honest, it only cost me $200 because I pretty much made back my money from the Rodecaster. I sold my.
You sold everything. Okay, got it. Yeah, well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't like about this is like I bought all these like aux cords, and I think I sent you like there's this portable charger that you could hook up to the original Rodecaster Pro and like hook it up to like a power bank. None of that is on the Rodecaster 2. So I tried to include that when I sold the original Rodecaster, and people are like, I don't want that. I don't want those cords. I'm like, yeah, but they're fucking awesome though. Like, well, I don't do portable podcasts. And I'm like, Jesus. So now I have 5 of these cords that are $100, $200 total. And I'm like, I'm never going to fucking use these.
You can just give it to me if you want. I'll take it.
We'll see. If I get a few more subscribers, I might do a giveaway for Jeff Dwoskin's Classic Conversation podcast. No, but this is I love this thing, man. It's way better than the original.
What's it better? What does it do? I mean, I only use it for the basic features because I don't do production on the fly.
Yeah. See, I do.
I basically use it to backup record, which I usually end up using the recording I make from the Rodecaster anyway.
That's right.
It's a backup. So, I mean, wherever I'm doing it, I record it there too. So it's being recorded in 2 places simultaneously. But because I'm just paranoid like that.
Yeah.
But it saved me once or twice, you know what I mean, where the Rodecaster recorded better than, or like the other one was bad, or that's it. So that's all I use it for. Do
you use a cloud lifter or a preamp or anything, or no?
Isn't the Rodecaster a preamp?
No. I mean, not as good of a quality as like a cloud filter.
What do those do?
It helps with compression and vocal.
Your voice or your guest's voice?
Both. Yeah. The whole idea of like a cloud lifter is whatever's going into it. So for instance, if it's like a virtual one like this, that'll go in through the USB. But the second one here just has an upgraded preamp, which is better than the original. So that's kind of a big deal if you want to nerd out about the mics. It's way better in person for sure. And the presets are awesome. Like this is a Rode mic that I've had for a while. like if you remember the Rodecaster you have now, you have to like, there's a couple presets on mics, but
there's one for that mic.
Yeah, there is. But if you don't really know a whole lot about what you're doing, it might be kind of confusing. Here it has like 15 different presets. And even the preset for this pod mic is like night and day compared to the original preset for the Rode. I don't know what they did differently.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's expensive. If I didn't do a podcast every fucking week, I wouldn't have done it. And if I didn't sell my other one, I probably wouldn't have bought it. It's like the iPhone, right? The new iPhone comes out. I'm like, ooh, the camera's 1% better, so I need to get it. Like, that's me.
Got it.
It's horrible decision making, but it's worth it.
With me, I find that I'm at the mercy of whatever the internet is or my guest. You know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
I can control it only a little bit. A lot of them don't have microphones even. And so it's like, do the best you can. So.
Yeah, that is true, right? Like, I mean, especially now, we've done nothing but virtual podcasts, right? Like, is that pretty much all you've done with your show?
I've never done an in-person. I almost did an in-person once, and then the guy got busy and couldn't come over. It was just going to be an on-the-fly type thing. And then, but yeah, everything's virtual because, I mean, they're all in LA, or something like that. I don't have access to them otherwise, the people that I would normally interview because, they're virtual. And then,
well, you're interviewing all the big Jeff. That's what it is.
Right. I think I have the first one where I'm going to not be, I have an interview I just did recently. I probably have to just dump it on YouTube. Only. Yeah. You'll notice, you'll see it. It's classic conversations.
You'll see it. It's fucking all over the internet. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, YouTube's definitely, I feel like they took a step back, but now I'm starting to ramp up a lot more and I'm seeing more subscribers and I'm seeing more views and stuff. So, but we're weird, right? Like us humans, we're just getting to this point, and even you just said it when you listen to podcasts, like you don't have enough time. So you got to speed up the podcast.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, why not? I mean, it's like,
sure, it's available.
What's the benefit of listening to something at one speed versus 1.5, not doing it at 1.5 speed? What's the benefit to your life to not save that 10 minutes when it literally makes no difference?
Yeah. And there's really no downside to it, essentially.
Actually, there's an upside. You can listen to more podcasts.
Right. Specifically, classic conversations and the broader podcast.
Exactly. So, it's fun. So,
and then how are you feeling with your guests? Because I noticed, I mean, if people don't listen to your show, you have a ton of guests on. Do you do a podcast every week?
I do every Monday and Thursday. Sometimes the Thursday one is best of Crossing the Streams, the live show that you've been on a few times.
Yes.
And so I'll do an episode of that and do 3 segments. But because I have such a backlog of of interviews, I've been doing interviews on Mondays and Thursdays just to get them out. Like I felt horrible. I was like, I released the one on Thursday, and I'm like, I literally recorded that a year ago. Like literally.
What held you back? Doing just timing?
It's not that you hold back. It's just when I reach out to people, I get a flood of people that say yes at a time. When I say a flood, just whatever. I was only doing one a week, so it's only 4 a month. So if I'm doing 8 to 10 interviews a month, and every month you do the math, right? And so it just got pushed, you know what I mean?
Right.
No reason. There's also so many I can edit at any given time. And so huge person comes in and I needed to do that one, I'll, bump it. But, it's always disappointing when you can't even get a like.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, like everyone doesn't share everything, but it's still a great interview. And what's the difference if it came out now or a year ago? If it came out a year ago, I'd go, hey, there's a great interview.
Yeah.
I mean, I try really hard to avoid actually talking about certain things. And a lot of times if someone goes, oh yeah, I got a show coming up, it's this Thursday at 4:00, like that last part of the sentence, I take right out.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
that could change. Yeah. Or like if you did, if you did a podcast in, 2019 and they're like, yeah, I went outside to this great restaurant today, and then you ended up posting in 2020 because all the restaurants were closed like after March in 2020.
Oh, right. Yeah, but like I would like stuff that like I put out that was recorded during the pandemic that I aired during the kind of lift of the pandemic.
Right.
I would take out some of that stuff where they would talk about it heavily.
Yeah.
Because to me, like my goal of my podcast is listen to any episode right now And it doesn't matter if I released it this week or 2 years ago. It's a conversation. It's not a promo of, it may be, hey, your book just came out, but what we're talking about, it doesn't matter when you're listening to it, right? That was the whole idea of the conversations that I do, so that's why I'll take out. Now, if somebody does get something very specific, sometimes that will make me get it out faster.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's kind of how we do it. That way I can kind of control the output of what I'm doing as well, like, oh, this would go good, because the interview that I released with the Robert Klein, and it was just another great interview with a comedian talking about the history of comedy. So the two of them paired well together, I thought, and so, you got that. So
yeah. And you just posted that one, yeah?
Yeah, last Thursday. Well, the one today is with Christian Genier. The one that came out today is from Stranger Things. He's 10 in Stranger Things. If you watch season 4, episode 1, he's the first 10 minutes with Matthew Modine. He was in a Subaru commercial when he was 5. You've probably seen the commercial because it's I think one of those commercials that went viral. Right. And he's hilarious in it. And he's like the star of the commercial. It's really, really good. But awesome. Yeah, he's in Stranger Things. So it's like, usually the folks I have on are older and their shows are much older.
Right. Than 13. Their shows are older than 13.
But a good kid, real good kid. He's been on Grey's Anatomy, Days of Our Lives. I mean, he's had quite a career for 13 years old. So.
Yeah, that's wild. What brought that on? Did you reach out to him or did...
I was just I have people that connect me at times. They reach out. So
that's awesome.
I have people.
I know people. Yeah, I mean that's the goal, man. Is if you have a podcast like myself, if I could strive to be like a Jeff Dwoskin, I mean, dude, that's the sky's the limit. Yes. You know what I mean?
Be like JD. That's what would JD do?
Get a wristband and everything.
Exactly.
No, but dude, we're almost at an hour. So no, it was cool to shoot the shit. It's been a minute since we chatted. But I love the podcast. Love what you're doing. I'm definitely gonna listen to the one with what's his name again from Stranger Things?
Christian Genier.
I don't watch Stranger Things. A lot of people make fun of me, but it's the only geeky thing that I don't watch, I think.
His main big scene is like season 4, episode 1. He's like the first 10 minutes.
Really? You watch Stranger Things? Are you a Stranger Things fan?
Yes, for the most part, yes.
Yeah. So you can have people on the show. Yeah. Any other shows that we should be watching? I haven't been on Crossing the Streams in a while, so.
I'm into season 4 now of Ozark. I was a little behind the ball on that one, but
Jesus, you're like a year behind, Jeff.
I know, but that's a good show. I just started season 4.
Okay,
and it's exhausting. It's an exhausting show. A lot of good stuff. Go watch Crossing the Streams if you want.
It's a great
Check out the YouTube channel and do that. So
yeah,
you're all good.
I need to do that just so I can catch up on my streaming.
For sure.
Cool.
Sure.
Well, cool. Jeff Dwoskin, ladies and gentlemen. I left his social. If you're watching YouTube, it's Classic Conversations is the podcast, available everywhere. YouTube, his TikToks, Reels, and YouTube Shorts are some of the best you're ever going to experience, I think, on your phone. So you need to check that out. But Jeff, anything else for the listener or the viewer out there, bud?
That's it. That's all I got. Thank you so much. Always fun hanging with you, Tony B. Classic Conversations. Check it out.
Appreciate you, man. We'll talk soon, brother.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
If you don't listen to Tony Berardo, you don't know what you're missing out on. It's the greatest podcast in the world, second only to Classic Conversations with Jeff Dwoskin. So definitely subscribe to the Tony Berardo podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. Full of inspiration and antidotes you can't live without. Tony Berardo circles the world. Oh, also Meet Cute. That's Tony's business that he does with his wife. If you're looking for unique date nights, put a kick into your love life. Oh, yes. Thanks, Tony. My marriage was dull and unfun, and then I discovered Meet Cute. Now, every date is a highlight in our marriage. Thanks for saving us. Tony Berardo is not a licensed marriage therapist. He can send you fun stuff to do with your spouse or partner.
Are you doing fucking placements? What do you got going on?
I was doing a commercial for you while you were gone.
I appreciate that. Good thing I kept it recording.